Judah. Give me Levi. It's time. Give me Judah. Give me Levi. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. The Levitical priesthood and the kingdom of Judah. And now, my children, I command you, love Levi, that you may abide, and exalt not yourselves against him, that you be utterly destroyed. To me alone, the kingdom, and to him,
oh, Judah.
the kingdom beneath the priesthood, things in the heavens. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Oh.
The blood of the prophets. I've been telling you stop. You gave us all the religions. When laws and commandments was there from beginning.
Laws and commandments were there from the beginning.
Oppression nation and king. Just they gon' come, you deserve it. Finally free when we leave, we gon' sing like so long. Farewell, Alpha Omega, mighty redeemer, Babylon judgments, haven't you seen them? Flee from the north, ain't no more ships gonna be on her shore. He won her destiny, I got for sure. Double her judgment, she get her reward. One hour, hey in the war. She ain't deceiving the nations no more. Every man to his land, the blood of the prophets. I've been telling you stop. You gave us all the religions. When laws and commandments was there from the beginning, all of these gods we don't worship. Oppression nation and king. Just they gon' come, you deserve it. Finally free when we leave, we gon' sing like so long. Farewell, so long.
Y'all don't get it today. You never gonna get it. Yeah, we all the people.
I'll be the generation who belong. Joshua and the Calebs, sing your song. He'll make us like David, make us strong. We can't fall asleep, this ain't home, this is Babylon. Got caught to the narrow road. We endured and we going home. He'll remember our sins no more. Don't look back cause we walk in the Zion. I've been telling you stop. You gave us all the religions. When law commandments was there from beginning, all of these gods we don't worship. Oppression nation and king. Judgment gon' come, you deserve it. Finally free when we leave, we gon' sing like so long. Farewell, Babylon.
Welcome to the Hebrew state of being. Humble servant and host for this Shabbat. I am Kayel. In the building, I read my butter pecan, Miss Artist 28. You see on the screen, just posting the title of this lesson. Youngin is with his pops for this weekend, so we are in here renewing our love thing every Shabbat. I'm so thankful to the Most High for this glorious commandment of the fourth being of rest on his day. Man, all praises unto the Most High Shaddai. I am a higher, right? So this is going to be, without a doubt, 0% for you to be able to question if you are of the tribe. This is going to tell you 100% today that Solomon is what the world is following. The evils of Solomon is what the world is following today, especially those people that are in the land they call Israel. Oh yeah. We are going to go from Solomon to Africa, to the interiors of Africa, to the transatlantic slave trade, all the way back here to let you know, without a doubt, 100%, you are the people. You may want to do whatever you want to do. You may have the opinion that you may want to have. But the proof, what we're going to provide today, is going to be undoubtedly that you are of the tribe or have mixed with the tribe if you associate yourself with being a Negro, that is. We have many Aboriginal tribes in the Southeast, specifically the Southeast, that have kept the traditions until 1492 of the book of the law. Yes, they did. You can look up James Adair as your reference point. Oh, we're going to be smoky today. We're about to go in, guys. Oh, yeah. We're about to go in today, baby. I just want to make sure we get this nice and fiery, baby. Oh, yes. So, we're blowing this frankincense and myrrh. We are going to deal with some subjects today. One of the subjects I like to express is that we are under attack on these platforms, on these social media platforms. People like myself, gentlemen like Lex Will, and others are under attack. We have been under attack for quite some time via shadow banning and stopping our signals and notifications from going through. But they have just changed the requirements on Instagram now that I can't go live on Instagram. You have to have 1,000 views. I'm at, I think, 9,500 or 8,500, something to that effect, but no longer can go live on there. That's one of their ways. Mr. Benny Yah Israel did a video on, he released on yesterday, 2 days ago, on the different Israeli companies that are actually in Jerusalem targeting Black Americans via the internet and complaining to their bosses when they proclaim themselves to be an Israelite, when they proclaim themselves to come out of this system. They are being reported to their jobs. They are being reported to the social media platforms to get them banned. This is real companies called the Canary Mission. Please go to Benny Yah Israel's webpage and YouTube page. Please subscribe. Benny Yah Israel, Beniyah Israel, Beniyah Israel on YouTube to be updated. All of what we're going to discuss today is a very serious matter. As the title of the lesson is, in this world of lies, Ouidah/Judah is the truth and the light, no star. What do we mean by no star? We're going to start there. We understand that the people in Israelis, they use the star as their symbol. They like to tell us that it goes back to us. It goes back to Jerusalem, right? But that's not true. However, it goes back to Solomon while he was in Jerusalem. It goes back to the evil ways of Solomon, not the ways of the people, but yet again, another evil king. If you can't understand the separation between the people and Solomon, and you want to lump us all in, that's on you. But when you look at the present day president, are you saying that you're the same as him, or you are the people of the United States? Scenario. So we have these Caucasians that have picked up the flag of this star, which is the star of Moloch, which is called the star of Rephaim. And this is something that Solomon enacted. It's something that our people started following to the point that the Most High then put us into captivity. Because of this very same star that they used, that we were following, because of Solomon following and marrying into all of these other tribes and building temples. The man they say is the smartest man in the world, right? They give Solomon the credit of being the wisest man ever to live. So Solomon brought on these new wives and built temples for them and started worshiping him. And the people started following this leader. And the Most High put us into slavery. And that's how we got into the interiors of Africa, so that we, as the movie that you guys love, the Woman King, that you thought was such a prideful thing, black women, something for melanated women in America to stand up and to grab their roots of being queens in Africa. When I've told you over and over again, that movie, and I'm going to prove out today, because we got some exciting events that happened, that I'm going to prove out today, that those Women King of Dome tribe were the ones that enslaved us and sold us to the French and to the British and to the Spanish in order for us to be brought to Haiti and to the southeast of North America, specifically the southeast, specifically New Orleans. I'm going to prove all of that out today. Those Dome tribe, that Woman King, overtook Ouidah, which is the French word for Judah. I'm going to prove that all out to you guys. Those people brought to Haiti and they created voodoo because we were following these things. Remember, even though we were the people of the Most High, we were following these stars and we were following these gods of Moloch and whatnot. And we brought that thing there to Haiti. And they created a religion called voodoo, which was what Benin, the people of Dome, still believe in to this day. So they turned voodoo into voodoo in Haiti. And then we know who the capital of voodoo is in the North Americas. It would be New Orleans. Y'all gonna hear me today. It would be New Orleans. So from voodoo of the Dome to now running and being enslaved in Haiti, calling it voodoo, to then now being connected to the capital of voodoo of North America, where the slaves were brought as well, because it was all French colonization. Why you got Creole, meaning the Aboriginal, the slave, the Spanish, and the French. Mix your Creole culture. Oh yeah. See, we have a thing called gumbo here. Gumbo is an Aboriginal dish here, because how they make the original gumbo with filet is naturally from Louisiana. This gumbo, this filet, was made here before you brought Africans. And when the slaves came, Ouidah, Judah, when they came, they brought okra seeds in their hair from the land, so that because they didn't know what they were going to be able to eat. So they brought okra to New Orleans and then created okra gumbo. So we have two gumbos here, filet and okra, since the beginning of time. But continuing to show you what we're going to prove out today. Through Solomon's iniquity, we were brought into slavery, into the interiors of Africa, and we built kingdoms there. When we ran from the fall of our temple in Jerusalem. And the Africans, Edomites that were there, both Edomites and Africans, were there, and they didn't like us. And they got tired of our ingenuity. And they decided to link up with the French and the Vatican and begin the slaves trade. Take us over and sell it to them. So let's prove it out, right? But before we do that, we must blow the shofar. So we get into the scriptures, and we're going to be First Kings. It's going to be our chapter 10, where we're going to start. As we are blowing the shofar, we are standing to the east. not for Jerusalem, not for a star, not for Mecca, but because the sun that the Most High created comes out from the east every day, out the windows of heaven, Abba Shemayim. So we pray to that window so that our prayers will be heard unto the Most High. So as we are standing to the east, we are praying that the words and what we have put together as a household here for you guys, that this scripture answers the questions that have been burning inside of you. Nobody else knows, but the questions you've been having about the Most High, your place, what we got going on in this world, we pray that these scriptures answer those questions for you. And when you allow that to be an answer for you through the scripture, we pray that the Most High levels you up, and as soon as that resonates with you, whether it be right now, next year, next week. All praises. Let's stand to the east and blow the shofar. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Oh yeah, let's get it in, man. I'm loving it. Today is going to be a great day for understanding and wisdom. So we're starting off with First Kings, and let me give you that on the screen. Is gonna line up with what I'm reading, but I want to give you guys this anyway. We're gonna start at verse 11. This is out of the, fortunately, the Jewish website. That's the only place I could get to knock online, and it does not always measure up to what I have in this Tanakh right here. But nevertheless, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 10. We're going to start at verse 11 that I already have on the screen. And it reads, the Most High was angry with Solomon because his heart turned away from the Most High and of Yasharallah. And the Most High of Yasharallah, who had appeared to him twice and had commanded him about this matter, not to follow other gods. He did not obey what the Most High had commanded. I want you to hear, this is Solomon. He's supposed to be the smartest man. This is the one that Hebrews are wanting to follow. This is the Star of David, because David never had the star. But this is where your Star of David comes from. This is this Raphaim star of this guy. The Most High said that Solomon, that you call the wisest man, turned away from him. And the Most High had appeared to him twice. They did not follow, do not follow other gods. He did not obey what the Most High had commanded. And the Most High said to Solomon, because you are guilty of this, you have not kept my commandments and the laws which I enjoined upon you. As the song said, before there were any religions, there was the law. And that is what the Most High is chastising Solomon with. He did not tell Solomon, you're not following this religion. You're not following Christianity. You're not following Judaism. You're not following, no. the law, the covenant. He says, because you are guilty of this, you have not kept my covenant and the laws which I enjoined upon you. I will tear the kingdom away from you and give it to one of your servants. Many times we talk about, or people bring up that in Kemet, they taught the Caucasian how to read and bathe him and all of that. Most High, the people that were serving you, your servants, are now, I'm going to give the kingdom to them. It's very important for us to understand that part as we're going forward, that the servants that we had, the Most High gave them the kingdom. I'll read it again. I will tear the kingdom away from you and give it to one of your servants. Verse 12. But for the sake of your father David, I will not do it in your lifetime. So Solomon was not going to see this in his lifetime. He did not see this in his lifetime. I will tear it away from your son. However, I will not tear away the whole kingdom. I will give your son one tribe for the sake of my servant David and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen. So that goes back to the land. So the Most High, he says, I have chosen the land, and I will give one tribe still unto the lineage of kingdoms. Understand what he's saying? I will give your son one tribe for the sake of my servant David and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen. So this one tribe and Jerusalem is what is chosen, and at the end times, what is going to be erected. And it says, verse 14. So the Most High raised up an adversary against Solomon, the Edomite Hadad. Now, you know the word Hadad is synonymous in the Middle East right now, but this is not being called an Ishmaelite, right? Because most of what we consider in the Middle East, they're calling them Ishmaelites, the Arabs. But maybe the original Arabs were Edomites. I'm going to say it again. The original Arabs were dark-skinned brothers of Jacob called Edomites from the tribe of Edom. You know, Jacob and Esau, Esau's tribe was Edom. Edom later had a nephew. Esau had a grandson named Zepho. Zepho, if you read the book of Yasher, will tell you that he went up to Europe and married all these Europeans. That's how they got mixed together. But for our reading and understanding, that not only in the Dome tribe, which are Edomites, the Most High used Edomite here, Hadad, to take over them just like we were taken over by Edomites in Africa called the Dome. So he says, because remember, Edom is below Jerusalem. It's in Africa. So see Petra, Petra. Google it, and that's where they are. So the Most High raised up an adversary against Solomon, the Edomite Hadad, who was the royal family of Edom. When David was in Edom, Joab, the army commander, went up to bury the slain. So remember, David was in Edom when they went to go bury the slain, and he killed every male in Edom. So when we were warring against them at this particular time, when David was clearing out everybody, Joab, his commander, had went up to bury all the slain bodies. And it says, for Joab and all of Israel stayed there for 6 months until he had killed off every male in Edom. But Hadad together with some Edomite men, servants of his father, escaped and Hadad headed for Egypt. Hadad was then a young boy setting out from Midian. They came to Padan and took along with them men from Padan. Thus they came to Egypt, to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who gave him a house, assigned him food allowance to him, and granted him an estate. Pharaoh took great liking to Hadad and gave him his sister-in-law, the sister of Queen Tephanes, as a wife. Now, Queen Tephanes is in history. She's written all through the Egyptian lore. So an Edomite is being shown, one, to marry into the royal house of Kemet. Also, we tell you the grandson ran up to Europe. Zepho ran up to Europe and made it with all of the European queens, unified them. So we have to understand that because of what Solomon is doing, the Most High is raising up an enemy from his father, an Edomite that they thought they had wiped out, that was put under the wing of Pharaoh. You wonder why Esau hates us so much? You wonder why our blood twin cousin people hate us so much? You think this doesn't span through thousands of years of time? You'll see. So the sister of Tephanes bore him a son, Gunabath. Tephanes weaned him in Pharaoh's palace, and Gunabath remained in Pharaoh's palace among the sons of Pharaoh. When Hadad heard in Egypt that David had been laid to rest with his fathers and that Joab, the army commander, was dead, Hadad said to Pharaoh, "Give me leave to go to my own country." Pharaoh replied, What do you lack with me that you want to go to your own country? But he said, nevertheless, give me leave to go. Another adversary that the Most High raised up against Solomon was Rezon, son of Ouidah, who had fled from his lord, King Hadad of Jobah, when David was slaughtering them. He gathered men about him and became captain over a troop. They went to Damascus and settled there, and they established a kingdom in Damascus, He was an adversary of Israel all the days of Solomon, adding to the trouble caused by Hadad. He replied to Israel and reigned over Aram. Aram is Arabs, right? So what I'm showing you is the history of us. This isn't, oh, go praise and everything gonna be all right. This is a historical fact, because what I'm about to bring you guys is more historic. It connects all to this history, and it's modern day. Oh man, y'all gonna love this. People making theme parks behind our history and oppression. Theme parks. Oh yeah. Please stay with me, because this is for the record, as they say. So understand the Edomites that he was killing. The Most High brought these two individuals from when David was slaughtering everyone for us to have our kingdom, to establish the people that were in the land, which would be known as Canaanites, right? Because that's where we went to Canaan, right? So these were the people that were in Canaan as we were coming through and clearing the path through Jericho on up. So now the Most High is bringing back these people that David kicked their butt to come and pull it from the son of Solomon, Jeroboam. And it says, remember the guy, this is Rezon of Ouidah, who was part of the king Hadad-Ezer. Now we got Hadad and we got a king that was Hadad-Azur. One would have to think these both were kind of Edomites. They got the same Edomite type thing, but anyway, this is from Aram, not Edom. This is from Aram. So you got the Edomites and now the Ishmaelites, right? People of Aram in here, right? So now you got, so it says Damascus settled there, and they established a kingdom in Damascus. He was an adversary of Yasharallah all the days of Solomon, adding to the trouble caused by Hadad, repudiated the authority of Israel and reigned over Aram. Jeroboam, son of Nebat, and Ephraimite of Zeradah, the son of a widow whose name was Zurah, was in Solomon's service. He raised his hand against the king. The circumstances under which he raised his hand against the king were as follows. Solomon built the Millo and repaired the breach of the city of his father David. This Jeroboam was an able man, and when Solomon saw that the young man was a capable worker, he appointed him over all the forced labor of the house of Joseph, northern Ephraim, Joseph. During the time of Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, and the prophet Ahiah of Shiloh met him on the way. He had put on a new robe. This is Jeroboam. This is the son of Solomon. His daddy had him rebuild the walls of David. And because he did good, he then put him over the labor of the northern tribes. Understand this part, okay? And he said, so now he's walking around. He's got on his new robe, and he comes across this prophet Ahijah of Shiloh. And he put on the new robe, and when the two were alone in the open country, Elijah took hold of the new robe and was wearing, and tore it into 12 pieces. Taking 10 pieces, he said to Jeroboam, for thus says the Most High of Yasharallah, I am about to tear the kingdom of Solomon's hands, and I will give you 10 tribes, but one tribe shall remain his, for the sake of my servant David and for the sake of Jerusalem, the city that I have chosen out of all the tribes of Yasharallah, Yehudah. For they have forsaken me, they have worshipped Asherah, and Asherah, the goddess of the Phoenicians. Chemosh, the god of Moab. We know Moab comes from the Hebrews that were Lot's children. Lot's daughters raped him and had 2 kids. One was named Moab, the other one was named Ammon. So the god of them that they worship was Chemosh, and say Malcolm, the god of Ammon. So these 2 sons had tribes, the Moab and Ammon, and they both of those believed in these different gods. And the children of Yasharallah was following their gods. I just want y'all to be clear. I don't want anybody to be confused of how we got here into slavery. I don't want you to be confused of why the cops is acting the way it is. I don't want you to be confused about what is happening to you with the jobs. I don't want you to be confused about what Trump is doing. I don't want you to be confused. This is historical reference to what we did as a people. And I'm going to walk you all the way from Jerusalem to Ouidah to Haiti to New Orleans. I'm about to walk you. I see my cousin Michael in the building. So Most High saying that we will worship Asherah, the gods of the Phoenicians. We were rocking with the Phoenicians. The Phoenician alphabet, 22 letters of the Phoenician alphabet comes from the Hebrew language. We sailed the seas with the Phoenicians and gave language to the world. That's why we were worshiping their gods. Then some of them believed in Chemosh, the god of Moab, Malcolm, the god of Ammon, and have not walked in his ways, or done what is pleasing to the Most High, or kept my laws and rules as his father David did. However, I will not take. Oh, did I start in the wrong one? I did, guys. Y'all got to forgive me. I was supposed to start in chapter 10 of First Kings, but I actually started in chapter 11 of First Kings, which is going to be the next thing I was going to read anyway. So we've gone from verse. So if you were looking at this on the screen, you would say that did not. So we're going to go to this right quick. I want to read what's on the screen. This is what we were supposed to read in the beginning. It's short. I wanted to read 1 Kings 10 because as I'm reading to you right now of how much they were in control of all the tribes and what Solomon had done, this is going to show you how rich we were and how somewhat as the beginning of where this 6-star thing came from, right? So 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 11. Also, Hiram's ships that delivered gold from afar brought from afar a huge quantity of almond wood, which is almond trees, and precious stones. And the king made of the almond trees a path to the house of the Most High and to the king's palace. Harps and psalteries to accompany the vocalists. They had come no such almond trees, nor were there seen to this day. And King Solomon gave the Queen Sheba, right? And King Solomon gave the Queen Sheba all her wishes that she requested. Aside from what he gave her, according to King Solomon's ability, she turned and went to her land, she and her servants. The weight of gold which came to Solomon in 1 year, here it is, 666 talents of gold. So we've heard the 666 so much of it representing the devil, right? We understand that the 6-pointed star, Raphaim, all goes into that, but I want you to pay attention to how many sixes are in this scripture right here. So it says the weight of the gold which came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. Now this happened every year. Aside from that which through the merchants and the commerce of spice peddlers and all the dependent kings and the regents of the land. And King Solomon made 200 body shields of malleable gold, 600 dinar gold he would put into one body shield. So he would put 6 dinar, I guess, would be the worth of the gold. So I don't know how many pounds it wind up being, but he made the shield out of gold. And he said, and 300 shields of beaten gold, 3 menes of 300 dinars. So menes is 300 dinars. So of gold would put into one shield. And the king placed them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. And the king made an immense ivory throne and overlaid it with glittering gold. There were 6 steps. Here we go again. There were 6 steps to the throne. To the top of the throne was a secular from behind. I'm just going to read that again. There were 6 steps to the throne, and to the top of the throne was circular from behind. And there were arms on both sides by the palace of the seat, and 2 lions standing beside the arms. So it was a circular altar of the throne. He was on the top. He made it 6 steps to get to him. And on his throne, he had 2 arms and then 2 lions. All right. So it says, all of the king's drinking vessels were gold, and all the utensils of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None was of silver. It was reckoned with as nothing in the days of Solomon. For the king had at sea ships of Tarshish with Hiram ships, which in 3 years the ships of Tarshish would come bearing gold and silver, ivory, and monkey and peacocks. Now King Solomon transcended all the kings of the earth in influence and wisdom. And all the inhabitants of the earth sought Solomon's presence to hear the wisdom in which God had endowed him. Each one would bring his gifts, vessels of silver and vessels of gold, garments, weapons, spices, horses, and mules, the tribute due each year in its year. Solomon assembled chariots and horses, had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen. He led them in chariot cities and with the king in Jerusalem. And the king made silver as common in Jerusalem as stones, and cedars as common as sycamores, that are in the lowlands in abundance. The source of Solomon's horses was from Egypt, and in assemblage, the agents of the king would buy the assemblage privileges for a price. I guess the horses was from Egypt, and the assemblage, I don't know what the thing that would go with the horses, I guess, and they would buy those things for a price. A chariot that went up and left Egypt went for a price of 600 silver pieces, and a horse for 150. And so for all the kings of the Hittites and the kings of Aram did they export them through them. The kings of Aram did they export them through them. So in this Solomon's 10, and like I said, I started at verse 11. In chapter 11, I started at verse 9, right? And I have read to verse 34, right? Now, I'm going to go and start at 11, verse 1. But as we are surmising this, and I'm kind of almost glad that I have hit it in different places, so I have to explain how it all coincides. Solomon was receiving 666 worth of gold every year from the Tarshish and from other entities in which they were making their gold. That was not including the merchants. That was not including other kings that was paying tribute. This was his annual 666. He made his throne 6 steps up to him. He began to worship the wives that he married. And that's what we're going to see right now. Chapter 11, verse 1. King Solomon loved many foreign women, in addition to Pharaoh's daughter, Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite, and Phoenician, right? And Hittite women from the nations on which the Most High had said to the Israelites, none of you shall join them, and none of them shall join you, lest they turn your heart away to follow their gods. Why would the Most High say that particularly about these particular nations? Well, I just explained that the Moabites and the Ammonites were of Lot, which was of the nephew of Abraham. Ammonites and the Moabites are nephews of Abraham. Lot was the son of Abraham's brother. So he's saying they're like family to you. I know you're familiar with them, your cousins. And then the Edomites was the twin of Jacob. So the Most High is saying, don't rock with these nations. They're your cousins. They're your blood. But you're not supposed to rock with them because they're going to turn you from me. See, if you're a Moabite, you're a Moor, and you're Islam, you're Hittites, this is all of that. The Phoenicians sailed the world, gave the world language. It's in our history. but their language had our alphabet in it. Solomon married Moabite wives, Pharaoh's daughters, Ammonites, Edomites, and Phoenician and Hittite women. And he built temples for these women. Why do you think our people were so mixed up? Why do you think they call us and say that we worship Yahushua or we worship Yahweh? Do you know that it's a moon god? Yahweh is Yahweh and Yahuwah is the same pronunciation, just different languages. Yahuwah, Yahweh, same thing. It's an Egyptian moon god. They were following under Solomon, under our greatest time of David, and then his son Solomon with all his gold and all his riches. At this time, we were the worst individuals. And all these other nations were using us and playing us. We were following their gods when we were being blessed by our Creator. It says, lest you turn your heart away to follow their gods. Such Solomon clung to and loved. He clung to these women, clung to their gods and loved. Verse 3, he had 700 royal wives, 700 royal wives. That means wives from other nations. And 300 concubines. So 1,000 women. His wives turned his heart away in his old age. His wives turned away Solomon's heart after other gods, and he was not as wholeheartedly devoted unto Shaddai, his creator, as his father David had been. Solomon followed Asherah, the goddess of the Phoenicians, and Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites, which is really Moloch. Solomon did what was displeasing to the Most High and did not remain loyal to the Most High like his father David. At that time, Solomon built a shrine for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, the god of Moors. This was before Allah. This was the god of Islam, of Moors, the Moabites. And on the hill near Jerusalem, and remember, I'm not Islam. This is what Drew Ali and others have said. They were Moabites, and they come from them. It says, shrine of Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, on the hill near Jerusalem, and one for Moloch, the abomination of the Ammonites. And he did the same for all his foreign wives who offered and sacrificed to their gods. He put them on the hills of Jerusalem. Y'all still wondering why the Most High tore us down? Why we got shipped into slavery? We are his children. The world looked to us. He put us on a pedestal, and then we followed their gods. That's too supernatural for you. That's not, you need concrete, written. We get there. So I started from verse 9 and read to verse 34. Now I went to verse 1 and went to 9, connecting this. Now we're going to jump back to 34. Well, I'm going to read 33. For they have forsaken me. They have worshipped Asherah, the gods of the Phoenicians, Chemosh, the god of Moab, and Milcom, the god of Ammon, of the Ammonites. And they have not walked in my ways or done what is pleasing to me or kept my laws, rules, as his father David did. We just read that, right? So same people, same thing. However, I will not take the entire kingdom away from him, but I will keep him as ruler as long as he lives, for the sake of my servant David, whom I chose. So this is Jeroboam being told by Ahijah, the prophet of Shiloh. He's giving him a prophecy. He gave him a jacket, and he gave him a robe, took the robe off when they was alone, ripped it into pieces, and explained to him the prophecy that the Most High had given him, which I'm reading, which is what has happened to us. He says, but will keep him as ruler as long as he lives for my sake as servant David, whom I chose, who kept my commandments and my laws. But I will take the kingship out of the hands of his son and give it to you, the 10 tribes. To his son I will give one tribe, so that there may be a lamp for my servant David. So we'll light the lamp. The title of the lesson is, in this world of lies, O Ouidah, Judah, is the truth and the light, no star. No star. He says, I will give one tribe so that there may be a lamp for my servant David forever before me in Jerusalem. So who is the servant of the Most High? It is not your religions, it is David. He says, before me in Jerusalem, the city where I have chosen to establish my name, but you have been chosen by me. Reign, you say, chosen by me, semicolon, reigns wherever you wish, and you shall be king over Yasharallah. If you heed all that I command you, and walk in my ways, and do what is right in my sight, keeping my laws, commandments, as my servant David did, then I will be with you, and I will build you a lasting dynasty, as I did for David. I hereby give Yasharallah to you, and I will chastise David's descendants for the sin, though not forever. So he's telling this boy, the 10 tribes I will give. One I'm going to save for David, but I'm going to punish them. They're going to be the lamp, but I'm going to have to punish them. We're being punished. Verse 40, Solomon sought to put Jeroboam to death, but Jeroboam promptly fled to King Shishak of Egypt, and he remained in Egypt till the death of Solomon. So Jeroboam is going to rule the 10 kingdoms, and Solomon's son, which is Rehoboam, is going to be given the kingdom of Judah. The one. And it says, the other events of Solomon's reign and all his actions and his wisdom are recorded in the book of the Amos of Solomon. The length of Solomon's reign in Jerusalem over all of Yasharallah was 40 years. So for 40 years, he received 606 talents of gold, or dinars of gold, whatever. For 40 years, people followed the Most High. And then Solomon decided to marry all of these women, 700 to be exact, of all these foreign places from Phoenicia, Hittites, Moabs, Ammonites, Egypt, and then started worshiping them and had us doing the same when the Most High had given us everything. That's the end of 1 Kings chapter 11. Now we're going to go to Amos. Amos chapter 5, verse 17. Amos is going to bring us to our slavery into the interiors of Africa. Yeah, I thought so. Amos chapter 5, verse 17. Let's see. Let's close this out. Amos chapter 5, verse 17 through 27. For there shall be lamenting in every vineyard too, when I pass through your midst, says the Most High. Now, understand this is Amos speaking. We are past Ezekiel. All the prophecies that the Most High spoke of in First Kings, of ripping the kingdom apart, having Judah go into punishment, the 10 tribes of the north. And then, even though they went into Jeroboam, they started worshiping the same gods. So the Most High allowed Assyria to come and take them into captivity. And then we, Judah, the single tribe, right, were now being punished by the Most High. And in Amos, we're speaking of this, and the Most High is speaking of his day. And it says, It says, Shabbat Shalom, sound the trumpet, bring it out loud. I'm glad you're in the building, the Koti. It says, verse 18, you wish for the day of the Most High. Why should you want the day of the Most High? Everybody talking about they waiting for that salvation, right? Everybody saying he gonna come out the sky, everything gonna be all right. That's what they're saying. There's some silly ones got the rapture. We gonna go up and meet him in the sky. It's gonna be lovely, yeah. The Most High says you really don't want my day to come, because what I'm telling you is that I'm not bringing anything that you want. I'm bringing judgment. And since you are not following my laws and my commandments, it is not going to be in your best interest on that day. Let's go. He says, why should you want the day of the Most High? It shall be darkness, not light, as if a man should run from a lion and be attacked by a god. Should learn his hand on the wall, should lean his hand on the wall. Surely the day of the Most High shall be not light, but darkness. Don't we feel that in today's society? No matter what we do, something's going wrong, somebody's attacking us over here, this bill, this scam on the phone, this law here. Says it's gonna feel like if you're running from the lion, you're gonna get eaten by the bear. If you escape the bear, you get into the house, you lean on the wall, and the snake bites you. You can't do nothing is gonna go right. We are in these last times. And it says, verse 20, surely the day of the Most High shall be not light, but darkness, blackest night without a glimmer. I spawn your festivals. I am not appeased by your solemn assemblies. If you offer me burnt offerings or your meal offerings, I will not accept them. I will pay no heed to your gifts of fatlings. Spare me the sound of your hymns, and let me not hear the music of your lutes, but let justice well up like water. Let justice well up like water, righteousness like an unfailing stream. That's what the Most High is asking and requiring. That's what's coming. It's only going to be dark for the people that are wallowing in this darkness. There's right now, I see my brother Scott's in the building. Right now, we got our mayor got indicted. 18 counts, my G. 18. There was a post that came up, and the person said, I'm standing with her because she's a black queen. Well, Lottie fucking died. Forget the Most High. Because she got a color. It don't matter that she's done iniquity. Doesn't mean that she's done wrong. Doesn't mean that she ruined a dude named Vappy's life. Don't matter that she ruined Vappy's wife's life. Doesn't matter that she used all of her power and political ability to go ahead and have her rendezvous and fly here and there. Oh, because she black. We should just put all that aside because white folks been doing it for all these years. How you gonna be mad that a nigga did it? Well, that's what the Most High has said in 1 Kings 10, 1 Kings 11. Now we're here in Amos, that you're full of iniquity. You're an abomination for even having a thought that way. The fact that you want to ride for Diddy because he's got a skin color, but you won't ride for the Most High because he's righteous. You won't ride for the Most High because that's corny, that's square, that's boring. But you'll ride with iniquity just because they got the same skin color as you. Not the same blood, not talk the same as you, could believe in whatever they want to, but because they melanated, that's your people. How inglorious are you bastards? Bastard means that you have no father. Your father's the Most High. You're following the evil, so you are a bastard. And inglorious means that you are far from shining in any form of fashion. You're inglorious bastards. You will ride for any iniquity, any John, Blaze, Dick, and Harry, but you won't ride for the Most High because that's the law, that's commandments, that's justice, that's righteousness, no matter who it is. Have you ever thought that the reason you're in this position, as I read in Kings, is because you don't have any righteousness in you? It says here, he don't want your flutes. He don't want your feast days. He don't want your sacrifices. He don't want your sweet aromas. He wants justice and righteousness. He didn't call a religion. He didn't call out a ritual. He didn't call out nothing. He's saying, you know what right and wrong is. You know what justice is. Let's not play stupid. He says, but let justice well up like water, righteousness like an unfailing stream. Did you offer sacrifice and oblation to me those 40 years in the wilderness of Yasharallah? No, you didn't. So any type of sacrifice really means nothing to the Most High. It's about being in order. Feast days, yeah, we follow them and we're going to do our best to continue to follow them, but it means nothing. If we were righteous, it would be okay in his eyes. And it says here, and you shall carry off your king, Sukkot and Kayum, the images you have made for yourselves of your astral deity. Astral deity means your star that you are created as a deity. This is where we get into the sixth star. See, we read these scriptures and sometimes we just don't want to go the extra step and find out what these names mean. But I did it for you today, baby. I did it for you today because I want you to understand why we got sent into the interiors of Africa, why we had to build a kingdom in the Gold Coast, the Ivory Coast, the Slave Coast, why we was on the west coast of Africa in Senegal, and Sundiata was a Hebrew king before Mansa Musa. Why we were in Iberian Peninsula, why we created Cordoba, why we Seville, why we created Granada. History lines up with the scriptures. So when we look at this Kunam, right, and we are trying to figure out who these people are, right, and what, and where's my, yeah. So we're gonna go to here. Let me just share that. Let me share my screen so y'all can see where we're going here. This is encyclopedia.com. We just read that the Most High says, y'all are gone, right? Done with them from Amos, right? And he sends them away out of Jerusalem into captivity. And he tells them on the way out, take your gods with you, my G. And he names the ones that they were following, Sukkot and Kayum. Well, here is Sukkot and Shahum. Now, this is the same as Kayum, but in the Bible, they spell it Kiyyun. But Sukkot, they try to make it sound like Sukkot, which is not boots. But here is, let's read what it says. It says in Hebrews, deities mentioned 6 in a warning sermon delivered to the people of the kingdom of Israel, perhaps in Beth El. Remember, we don't rock with El. They were in Aram. Aram, that was their god, El, right? We do not rock with El. It's Shaddai, right? So it says, although the vocalization in modern and modeled after Sukkot's abomination, the consul the consonantal base suggests a pair of Mesopotamian astral deities, as was recognized by E. Schrader. Sukkot is identified with the translated in Mesopotamia god list as Sukkot, an astral deity known also from the An god list found in Ugarit, which were right above. Ugarit was right outside of Jerusalem. Originally from Nippurian and other Mesopotamian sources, right? So it says in other non-Western list of gods and stars, Sukkot has recently been identified as Nenuruta, one of the chief Mesopotamian deities, also in the West, and sometimes identified as Haran, Horon. Now we know Haran very well. Sukkot in Amos is a perfect translation of this star deity. It's appellation, meaning it's an application. Melech, meaning God, king. Melech means king, alludes to the high rank of this deity. Classification known from Ugaritic and other sources. This means that in the ritual to which Amos alludes, Sukkot is the most important figure. Kaun or Chun is identified with Akkadian, which was the area that we were, Mesopotamia, Mediterranean, all the way up to Turkey. Akkadian comes to be pronounced like W, and so M was often written even for original W. The steady one, sometimes the application of the star god Saturn, hence Aramaic, right, which is where you get L from. These are all their gods and star deities that they believed in. This pair of deities appears in astrological lists, and also in the release, a passage of expiatory prayer and ritual known as Serpu, among other gods on the night of the night and stars mentioned in the inscription, Zakir King, Hamat or Hamat, right? So the mentioned in the inscription of Zakir King of Hamat. So Hamat, we know, is right there, Gaza, and the gods that they believed in all the way up until this day. And our people, when we were there, were following this, even though we were raised up by the Most High. And the Most High is calling us out in Amos, telling us to take those gods, those star gods, which is why you have the Raphaim, right? We're going to get to it, right? So, and it says, usually second participant in the ritual or celestial and expiatory prayers. Amos warns his listeners to exchange the sacrificial cult with the accompanying sacrifice, music, and for justice, or they will be exiled along with the images of those deities beyond Damascus. He thus mentions them only in passing, and nothing is learned about the details of their cult in Israel. So, yes, so they were sent past Damascus, they were exiled, and that's how we got into these Africans, right? Let's go. So this is Sukkot, and these are the gods that they were believing in. Let me get to my next one. So this is a little thing about Kayun, right? The secondary god, right? Say translated as Chaun, is a star god associated with the planet Saturn. Now we talked many times that this star is supposed to be a representation of Saturn, this star god identities, which we now call planets that everybody want to go to, right? So associated with the planet Saturn and mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, especially in the book of Amos, which we were reading. It's often paired with Sukkot, another deity, and described as an idol or image that the Israelites carried with them during their travels. The Greek translation of Amos, the Septuagint, renders Kayun as Raphan. So Kayun is Raphaim, the secondary god that they were worshiping, which is the six-pointed star that they are worshiping in Israel. That these camps are calling the Star of David, and they are holding. But they're supposed to read to know themselves approved, these camps. That's why we talked about the dude, Sakari, the guerrilla Hebrew, and we went in on him, wanting to have Greeks to ping him, to bang him in the back, and he wanted non-numbing lube, right? This is all the same people. He's a 6'5" guy from that area. Look like he's one of those Arabs. It says here, this deity, right? This idol, right? This, in the Septuagint, is known as Raphaim or Raphaim. And this name is later used in the New Testament in the book of Acts. Here's a more detailed breakdown. Saturn's association with Kiyun is generally understood to be a name for the planet Saturn, possibly derived from a Syrian name Kaivan. So we're still in Turkey. We're still down in Jerusalem, still all the same people. The book of Amos specifically mentioned Kiyun and Sakut as idols and the Israelites carried even during the wilderness wanderings, which is seen as a form of idolatry. The Septuagint, the Greek translation in Hebrew, translate Kiyun as Raphan or Raphaim, right? The name of Raphaim appears in Acts, where Stephen, in his speech, references the Israelites' idolatry, including the star of your God, Raphaim, right? The worship of these star gods, including Raphaim, is presented as a form of idolatry that led Israel's downfall and exile, right? What are we talking about? The truth, the star, I would say the truth alert, the Star of David is not from David, right? To where they even give you the revelations. Here is the wisdom. He who understands, let him calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So the carbon of our body is 666. That makes man, right? That's the scientific aspect. But we also told you that what made David, he received 666 pieces of gold every year. And he started following the gods of these other women of Moab, Phoenician, Pharaoh, Moabites, Hittites, all of them. See, the term is sometimes interpreted as referring to the tent or shrine associated with Moloch, another deity, further highlighting the complex religious landscape of ancient Yasharala and the syncretism being of different religion beliefs that occurred. The syncretism of all of these different gods that they follow, all star gods. We don't believe in the star god. We don't believe that the Most High is a star or a coming back into a man form or anything. So we got kicked out of there, right? So that's what Amos is clear on us, right? So now bring you to the part of the story where it brings us to modern day, connecting us to this book and to the story in which we're dealing with, right? We're now going to go to something that my sister sent me today, which I could not believe. This is, so you think that you're not of the book. You think that this does not connect. But Nina's building a theme park to remember slavery. It's history. It is history of for sale, as they say. This is called the conversation, an academic rigor, journalistic flair, right? So it's saying the Marina Project is a vast memorial and tourist complex under construction in Ouidah, a coastal town in the Republic of Benin in West Africa. The country hopes to make itself a major destination for Afro descendants, talking about us, tourists in the diaspora. Neighboring Nigeria and its population of 220 million potential visitors also makes Serene a diminutive Benin an invaluable location for large-scale tourist attractions. The waterfront development is located at what was the main slave port for the Bight of Benin. From the region, almost 2 million enslaved Africans departed during the transatlantic slave trade. At its height, from 1790 to 1860, Ouidah was controlled by the Kingdom of Dahomey. So that brings us to the movie, right? The Woman King. So Ouidah was not part of Dahomey. We were enemies, and we got controlled and taken over by the Kingdom of Dahomey. This is the history. The future complex will include a hotel spa, a life-size replica of the slave ship, memorial gardens, a craft market, and an arena for Boondoom performances. Boondoom. Boondoom is a religion practiced in Benin and among the descendants of the enslaved Africans in the U.S., Haiti, and beyond. Haiti. Boondoom. We left out there worshiping Kayum. Boondoom, Kayum. The Greeks call it Rafan, but they call it Boondoom, and it was Kayum. Anyway, so it says, the local sources of the Hollywood film Woman King revealed a strong interest in this historical period, still neglected in school syllabuses. The Marina Project could lead to a better understanding of the transatlantic slave trade, but it raises many questions in its design, in its scope. It epitomizes contested directions of slave heritage tourism. The commodification, that means making money, of the heritage may debase the experience of painful past. The spectacle of cultural produce by the tourist industry is often met with contempt. Anthropologists and well-traveled tourists often regard the likes of tourist dances as particularly tacky, according to the U.S. scholar Edward B. Berner, and yet fellow anthropologist Paula E. Byrne argues that heritage tourists must be also pilgrims and their commercial culture experience may be intimate and sincere. Nigga, please. If you don't understand what just happened, two anthropologists, one said, man, you got to be out your goddamn mind to think that people want to go and relive their pain and relive such an atrocity like the Holocaust Museum. And then the other one says, but it could be something special to that particular person, and they could have a certain experience and come out of that with a new understanding. At no point are they talking about paying us. See, that's the spin that they give you. They create an argument on is it good or not, and they still do it, and they continue the argument over and over to take you away from, shouldn't you be paying the people of the descendants of those slaves? Shouldn't the proceeds from this particular place go to enrich the neighborhoods in Brazil and in New Orleans and in Florida and in Atlanta? Shouldn't it? Because I'm looking at an article that they are building a theme park, a slavery theme park in Benin in Ouidah, where all the slaves were taken. And I'm telling you, Ouidah, I'm about to prove to you, Ouidah means Judah. This is where we left and went into. And we were known as the Kingdom of Judah before the Dahomey, the woman king, the Dahomey tribe, overtook us and sold us to the French, to the Portuguese, to the Spanish, and to the British. They are creating a theme park and creating an argument to make you not ask the question of paying us back. Because remember, America says they can't identify who we are. They need to do a survey. They need to bring a committee together. The Marina Project is also contested for other reasons. Some fear that the mass tourism will have an adverse impact on an area known for unique ecosystem and biodiversity, adding the concerns of the development of gigantic. So now it's never about us. It's about how we're affecting the area, the theme park. Teaching slavery in Africa is what I really want to read to you. Slavery. The slave trade remained insufficiently taught in schools. In 1998, the United Nations Education, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, implemented a transatlantic slave trade education project. Participating countries in West Africa like Ghana, Senegal, Gambia helped address the issue. So hold up. Y'all had education about the transatlantic slave trade, which we were brought here in America doing. And you gave it to Africa that sold us? You gave the education to the people that sold us. The people of Benin that's creating this theme park are the ones that sold us into slavery. Now they want to make a theme park to make more money out of it. Like the money they made it before wasn't enough. They got robbed by their own white boys that double-crossed them. So now they need to get back up. They need to re-up. And they say, well, shit, you know how we re-up last time, baby? The best way we re-up again is right back up on these slaves. Let's make a theme park out of it. But I'm telling you that in their quest for money, in their greed, they are letting you know that you are the tribe of Judah. And letting you know. Because Ouidah means Judah. I'm about to prove it to you. Just want to continue to read this. It says, on the beach of Ouidah, the door of no return is a concrete and bronze arch with poignant images of shackled bodies of enslaved Africans. It's one of the city's most notable landmarks, but only among hundreds. The road from the slave market to the monumental gate was marketed by 24 sculptures and symbolic stops commemorating the march of the captives. I want you to note that about only among the hundreds know of this, not all of Africa. What does that mean? UNESCO Drive is part of the organization's flagship slave route project, renamed Routes of Enslaved Peoples, launched in 1994 from Ouidah. It sparked the global development of research projects dedicated to studying slavery. It also set off new commemorations of slavery and the slave trade on the continent and beyond. In Benin, it transformed the memorial landscape. For example, the D. Silva Museum in Porto Novo, Benin, administrative capital, opened in 1998, the Primitive Institute offers resources, exhibition, documented spaces for school pupils to learn about slavery. Its founder, Urbine Karim Eliseo de Salva, is a prominent Ouidah, part of the Afro-Brazilian community related to slave trade and former slave returners. My goodness, I don't know if y'all know what's being read right here. I don't know if y'all understand what is being read here. They are making money across the world on our slave story. The people that actually put us in slavery are making monuments, memorials, all up and down the slave coast. Slave heritage tourism discontents. Slave heritage tourism in Africa caters mainly to the interests of foreign visitors, especially descendants of enslaved Africans in North and South America and the Caribbean region. Several UNESCO World Heritage Centers curate these legacies for tourists. Goree Island, Senegal, Slave Castle, Ghana, the Stone Town, Tanzania. To be sure, tourism development was always part of the slave route project even before UNESCO. Ouidah's new developments are featured in the Benin Reveille, a grand development program. Benin Reveille, meaning the revival of Benin, development program imagined by President Patrice Talon. According to some detractors, a lot of these projects will become white elephants used by few. White elephants used by few. That's an African term saying that elephants don't come in white, so nobody's going to really touch them. Now, this is something that they're not really proud of, and you're going to make this so not Africans are not going to participate in it, but the diaspora, us that were taken, are going to fund these programs, these UNESCO things to be taught, because we have an interest in knowing where we came from in slavery and seeing it, because we got enough money over here that we can actually travel over there to see where we came from. I'm telling you that you came from Judah. I'm telling you that you came from Ouidah, which is Judah. Let's go to this. Let's share this new screen. I sure hope my screen was shared before. Let me make sure I put this up here. I'm pretty sure I shared it, but I want to make sure y'all saw this. This is not. So this is where I was reading from. Benin is building a theme park to remember slavery. Its history is up for sale. This is the Marina Project. The Marina Project, the Flight of Benin, the King of Dahomey, Ouidah, right here. Go to Ouidah and see what it says. Oh, they don't want to tell you what it is when you tap on there, huh? Interesting. Page not found. Well, let's go back, because they're going to have Ouidah again. So Ouidah's not highlighted there. Ouidah's not highlighted there. So that's the new memorials, the landscape. This is what they want to build. Slave heritage. Here's Benin revival, as I told you about. Ouidah. Yeah, it's still not highlighted, but that's all right, because we can find Ouidah ourselves sharing that one. And we're going to pull this here up. We're going to screen share. We're going to give you Ouidah by the Botanica. All right. So Ouidah, the town was the main port of the kingdom of Bombay in the 18th and 19th centuries, which means the 17th and 1800s. Portuguese, French, Dutch, and Danish, and British, and Americans all vied for a share of the slaves and the palm oil trade made available through Ouidah by the efficiently organized and centralized kingdom. The town was an intellectual hub in the part because of the number of Brazilians as individuals of mixed Afro-European heritage and enslaved people of their descendants returning from Brazil were known, who settled there and served as cultural intermediaries. In 1893, the area came under French control. Now, this is some bull crap. They're going to tell you. Now, we've been reading all about Ouidah, and we've been reading about how they were sent down there, and then they give you this in the 18th, the 17th, and the 17th and the 1800s. And they're telling you that Brazilians came down. We know that they were sent from here to Brazil. But now they're telling you that this was an intellectual, because that was acts mixed Afro within the 100 years. Come on, man. Come on, man. See, some of the old forts and cathedrals and temples of Abomey traditional regions remain. The town considered to be a spiritual capital of voodoo, the religion, and holds an annual voodoo festival in January. Coconut palm and coffee are grown in the area. Ouidah is connected to the railway of Cotonou, cotton, 20 miles east of the port. So here, voodoo, a true Haitian religion, voodoo presents a syncretism of the West African voodoo religion and Roman Catholic descendants of Dahomean, Congo, and Yoruba. Not us. We were following the Seraphim, baby, and the other ethnic groups who had been enslaved and transported to the colonies of San Domingo, Haiti, and was known then and partly Christianized by Roman Catholic missionaries in the 16th and 17th century. Now that's 1500s. Now we're getting earlier, 15 and 1600s. The word voodoo means spirit or deity in the Fon language and African kingdom of Dahomey. Remember, that's their language in voodoo, right? It is not our Hebrew language and not what Ouidah would have had, because we're going to go to it, right? So, and it says voodoo is a worldview encompassing philosophy, medicine, justice, religion. Its fundamental principle is that everything is a spirit. Humans are spirits who inhabit the visible world. The unseen world is populated with mysteries, invisibles, angels, which is angels, spirits, ancestors, and recently deceased. All these spirits are believed to live in a mythic land called Ganem, a cosmic Africa. In cosmic Africa, the God of the Christian Bible is understood to be the creator of both the universe and the spirits were made by God to help him govern humanity and the natural world. So that's how they combined this voodoo and hoodoo out of Ouidah. Let's go. And we know that New Orleans is known as the capital of voodoo here in North America. It's the same people, right? Now let's stop sharing that. And let's share this. They don't want you to make this connection, right? We're going to make this connection. Y'all been seeing Ouidah. Been seeing Ouidah connected to all of these different things. Come on now. I'm overworking the computer, man. Come on, screen. Come on, give me a screenshot, baby. Here we go. All right. So, Ouidah. It says the French term Ouidah refers to the city of Ouidah located in the Republic of Benin, West Africa. It is also known as Ouidah or Judah. In the past, it was the chief port of the kingdom of Ouidah and a major center for the transatlantic slave trade. The name Ouidah is derived from the local name Zuda, spelled X-W-E-D-A, pronounced Zuda, Zaida, in the Zaida Giba language, which, and then we go here, and it says, here's more detailed breakdown. Ouidah, Judah. These are all the names of the same city, with Ouidah being the most common modern English spelling and French pronunciation. Ouidah was a major point of departure of enslaved Africans to the transatlantic slave trade. So the only place you're going to find in Africa that was still named Judah is Ouidah. You see, Mike, I pray that y'all are hearing me, man. I pray that I've made sense. I pray that I've shown the facts of what Solomon did, the 6 stars, the people that picked up that fame and lore, to us being driven into the interiors of Africa by Amos, us having this star being Judah there, right? Also worshiping the gods of the land, just as we did with the Ammonites, the Phoenicians, the Hittites, and the Moabites. So we did it now with the Dahomey, the Edomites. We brought the slavery to Brazil, to here, because this was the French settlement, and this is where the French brought their slaves to New Orleans from Ouidah, from Judah. We're going to go to Malachi. for our last verse for our lesson tonight. The point of all of this, the world is making hand over fist money, telling your story, telling you that you are of Africa, and not telling you that the Ouidah in Africa was actually called Judah. The people that sold you into slavery and the UNESCO organization, these European nations have made commemoratory islands and spaces on these islands of where they took us from, because we have this strong desire to go back where we come from, to know where we come from. And they give you all information, but the most important information, that you were Judah and that you went away from the Father, and that's why you were able to be taken in slavery. Now, all the things that they say you worshiped and believed in, that was because you was of error. And the Most High was trying to bring you back here. So we're here now. This is what the awakening is. Don't spend money to find where you came from and miss that you're a child of the Most High. Now, he did this because you were following their God that you're still doing to this day. Going to Malachi chapter 3, verse 19 through 24. For lo, and burning like an oven, all the arrogant, that's all you that don't want to come back to the law, all of you that want to claim your God, want to claim your New Testament, want to claim your Quran, want to claim your Talmud, you want to claim your president, you want to claim your Baptist, you want to claim your Yahushua, your Black Jesus. When the Most High said the only thing your ass is supposed to be claiming is the law and the covenant. That's it. The only thing that you're supposed to be coming back to is the law and the covenant, being justice and righteousness. You don't care about your color. You don't care about your background. You don't care where you come from. This is the law that has to be upheld. And he's coming in this day because we have not. You choose not. My household, we choose. And others have chosen. But this world is cutting us out. They said there will be a famine on the word. Brother Lex Will said he's giving up. I hope he's not. You got others. We are being marginalized. I told you I couldn't go live anymore on my Instagram because I don't have 1,000 subscribers on Instagram. So as the more people that wake up that want to start talking this, they're going to shut you out. Soon they're going to tell me I can't do it here. Soon there's going to be a time where I can't come forward, but I've done this for the last 6 years. I've given y'all enough content, enough knowledge, enough information, enough history, enough archaeology, enough historical facts to back that we're supposed to be coming back to his law. I see Cyril Neville in the building. I'll praise my brother. You've got to see, man, they are creating a theme park in Benin that's supposed to commemorate the diaspora, the transatlantic slave trade. And it comes out of a port, Cyril, called Ouidah. And what they won't tell you is that they'll tell you that Ouidah is where voodoo comes from. They'll tell you that's where it all kind of translates. But what they won't tell you that Ouidah is the French word for Judah. That we were out there worshiping the wrong things. And that's why we got put into slavery. And we are following these other false gods out here. We have shown on this show today, Brother Cyril, that they are commemorating our pain and our transatlantic slave trade and making millions off of it, and they give none to us. They want us to debate on should they do it or not as they do it. And they have no plans to pay us. The Most High is our payment. If you don't understand that, then you're not reading. If you think that that's crazy, you're not reading. You don't understand what is happening right now. He says, For lo, that day is at hand, burning like an oven. All the arrogant, all the doers of evil shall be straw. And the day that is coming, in that day that is coming, says the Most High of the army, shall burn them to ashes and leave of them neither stock nor bow. But for you who revere my name, Shadiah, a son of victory, shall rise. That's the son, S-U-N, to bring healing. You shall go forth and stamp like stall-fed calves, and you shall trample the wicked to a pulp, for they shall be dust beneath your feet on the day that I am preparing, says the Most High of the army of hosts. Be mindful of the teachings of my servants Moshe, whom I charged at heart, laws and rules for Yasharallah. I'm going to come back and I'm going to be Jesus and take my words? No, Moshe. Verse 23, lo, I will send the prophet Elijah to you before the coming of the awesome, fearful day of the Most High. He shall reconcile parents with children and children with their parents, so that when I come, I do not strike the whole land with utter destruction. Know who you are. Stop going to these slave monuments, to these plantations for them to entertain you and make money that doesn't come back to you. Understand, coming back into the Most High is the charge and the challenge of the day. That Ouidah that they're going to promote is Judah. You. Man, I can't tell you how upsetting this is, but I pray that you got the understanding today. I pray that I give it to you in the right spirit of enough facts and drew the clear lines from scripture to history to modern day that we are those people. Especially here in New Orleans under French settlement. They specifically took 2 million from Judah and spread it between Brazil and New Orleans, including Haiti. Understand who you are. All praise to the Most High. That's our lesson for this Shabbat. I pray that Shadiah, as written in Genesis chapter 17, verse 1 and 2, you understand that is his name, not El Shadiah, the Arabic on top, just Shadiah. And he says, I am Shadiah. I am is Ahaya. So Ahaya, Shadiah, both Hebrew words. There was a clip that I should have had for the day. Young man that's on YouTube, look it up. 6-year-old drowns and goes to heaven and comes back. And the young man came back and said that he met the Most High in the air, and the Most High is in the air. So he wanted to be called no longer the name that his mom and dad gave him, but he chose the Hebrew word Avar, means air, for his new name. So he wants his parents to call him Avar. They didn't know the Hebrew word. He came back saying this. Wake up and understand what's at hand. All praise to the Most High. Shalom. Shadiah.